What's going on, people?
What's going on, everyone? Hi, sister.
You sound like a kindergarten teacher.
Welcome to kindergarten, everyone.
welcome back. It's another Thursday Night Live with those two sisters. And Kamisha made me this or whatever. I thought that was kind of cute. You know what I'm saying? Am I going with them? No. How come I can't?
Oh gosh, how come
How
my
come I
hair
can't?
looks crazy?
Okay, there you go.
If my hair looks crazy, I don't really care because world, this is what my hair looks like. Sometimes it looks crazy, sometimes it doesn't.
You're still you. So
I'm still me and I still feel okay.
hey, Tata G. Okay, I can see the comments better on here. So I like it. All right,
Okay.
so welcome to.
Hey, Tata G. Okay, that's embarrassing. Okay, there we go.
Welcome back, y'all, for another Thursday Night Live. I don't really even know what we're talking about tonight, but Faith has some really good topics, and I feel like we always have a good conversation. So get down in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I have to start by asking because before we started this live, I was telling you all about how crazy my week was, but I want to know how your week was.
You know, I'll tell you, it's similar to your week. It was a little crazy, and I think that even though we're in the same sort of like mindset, I think I'm just a little bit like I think I've accepted that life is just going to be this crazy, right? So I realized that it's not going to get slower; it's just going to get faster. So I might as well accept this level of crazy so that I can so that I can surpass the next level of crazy. I feel like I'm always going to be suspended within a 3-day period, right? Like my mind wants to slow down and be like, no, it's Tuesday, 3 p.m. But really, if I want something to, if I'm trying to build something, then I'm going to have to be in motion, meaning I'm going to have to run. If you think about when you're running, you're not really like taking everything in because you're running, right?
Yeah.
Like you're focused on your breathing, you're focused on your person, you're focused on your speed, you're focused on not tripping up over anything. So I feel like when I'm not running, I'm not getting there quick enough. So, but when I feel like I am running, I'm not able to look around, but I feel like I can look around enough on the run. So I feel like, okay, just like you, I do feel this pull of like, why is everything so fast or whatever, right? Like I'm just trying to
I mean, like
grasp.
it's Friday again. Tomorrow's Friday. Like already, if it was just Friday. So
We work from home most days, and one of the days last week we didn't even sit down for lunch until like 4 o'clock. I was like, how did it get to be 4 o'clock? Like it just happened so fast, but I got a lot done that day. But it was just like I was literally in every moment. And when people say stuff, sometimes I glaze over because it's just
hey,
like
it's Talks Baby
certain
Girl.
things. Hey, good evening. And sometimes I glaze over things because it doesn't really make all the sense to me to hear the words that I've heard. Like remember when school people will be like, teachers will be like, apply yourself. And I didn't understand. Like I knew what the words meant, but it's just like, why put those two words together? Now I have an understanding of like what it means to apply myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just certain things where people are like, be in the moment. And now I'm realizing being in the moment is like,
Hard as fuck.
being passionate and you know what I'm saying, and intentional. And so being in the moment just almost is not the right description for that. So anyway,
It's so hard to be in the moment. I be trying to remind myself to do that sometimes because when you're like, you can't always be worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, And when you get caught up like that, you miss so much, but you don't realize it until you slow down and like be in the moment. But like, I have a habit of like doing other stuff. Like I plan to do other stuff while I'm passing time for something else. And sometimes it's not to my benefit because, you know, I'm not even stopping to take in the process of what's going on. You know what I mean? So I feel like I be having to tell myself to slow down and like pay attention to, just what's right in front of you now versus thinking about, you know, all the 3,000 other things you got to do after you do this. Like just focus on what you're doing. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, I'm an advocate for writing things down, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why we don't want to be in the moment because we don't want to forget. But again, our brain is not meant to remember, it's meant to think and process. So if you're using your brain as as a memory stick, then it's not going to work. But you write stuff down. But here's what I was going to say. I think that being in the moment is all in how you look at it. It's not necessarily slowing down. It's about how can I have fun with this? What part of this can I bring myself to that would be different if I wasn't here? So that's how I've started to look at meetings. Because, okay, like I said before, I love my coworkers and I really enjoy the organization that I work for. But it's just meetings in general. I'm anti-meetings. Like, I just don't like meetings. Now, I show up to all of them. I never cancel on meetings because I feel like once I start canceling on them, my brain will get used to it and then I'll be trying to cancel meetings all the time. So I'm like, no, I'm going to show up. I show up to all my meetings, but I just feel like they could be such a waste of time sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But
sometimes
I started to even embrace
to have a meeting. Like, what can we just get this all taken care of in one shot? So I feel you. A lot of meetings, I would say a good 80% of meetings are just a waste of time.
I mean, like, when people even suggest meetings sometimes, like, let's have a meeting. You know what? Why don't we find a time? No, I can answer you right now. Well, I'll send you a document. You should hear me. I'll just send you a document. I'll just send you the spreadsheet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can just put it together and send it.
Like, what are we doing?
But there are a couple people who I meet with though at work that have changed. Like, now I'm starting to morph because I'm like, there are a couple of people that I meet with that we work in the meeting, and that is glorious. Like when you meet with somebody and you're like actually completing work. Because here's the thing about meetings that they don't say, right? You're walking into a situation where you're about to get more work. Like, hey, come over here so I can give you this. It's like, no, it's work to prepare for the meeting. It's work to be at the meeting because now I'm taking time away. And then it's work coming out of the meeting.
Or something, yeah.
Oh, anyway.
I'm sorry. I have this one person who likes to schedule meetings. When she says she wants to chat with you or whatever, which it really could just be an email or a quick phone conversation. Like, she likes to put herself on your calendar. And all right, whatever. But she also is the type of person that fucking cancel is. What the fuck?
Cancelees.
She's also the type of person that cancels the meeting like 2 or 3 times before you actually have it. So I'm like, okay, what are you doing? So I don't know. And then I feel like, like you said, it is more work. I know I'm going to get more tasks from the meetings that I go to or whatever, but I just be like, oh my gosh, another one.
How do y'all schedule meetings because, at my organization, they'll just put time on your calendar. They don't even get your buy-in. So they'll just be like, oh, this is fine.
For me, like, if you worked with me, right? Like, and you said, oh, we need to talk about this. You could just send me an invite. You know what I'm saying? But like, I work for a person who, people can't just get on his calendar or whatever. So like, those meetings are scheduled, whatever. But even those people, they have meetings for like all of these things that it just be like, y'all just, nobody's doing anything. Y'all just still talking about the same stuff y'all was talking about last week. So I don't know. But anyway, I think that part of my problem is that, I really, really want to change a lifestyle. So I think that's part of the thing that's in the back of my mind for what I am doing, because I'm just like, I gotta do this again. But
there's this limbo period, right? I'll just say this because I'll just be transparent. There's this limbo period from when you pray about something and then it's morphing into that feels really strange. It feels really bizarre because that you don't want what you're currently experiencing, which is an effect of what has happened in the past, right? So like, all the stuff that I did got me here. So if I keep doing this, I'll get more of this. Now I want something different, so I'm going to start doing something different. But when you first start that something different, before you get any return on the investment of that time, it's so odd. It's like you're in space and you know what I'm saying? And like,
because it's almost like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? And I feel like that's where you are, because in 3 more months or something like that, right? I don't have a psychic, like, I have a crystal ball right here. But I feel like the way you've been going you're going to start to see a return on the investment, but it's going to be a return on your initial investment. And you're going to be like, oh, this is kind of cool. But the stuff that you've already been brewing and sowing is going to come after that. So get used to this.
I'm the single one.
Yeah, you got it. You're on the right track. You just don't have the confirmation. You just don't have the stuff in your hand yet.
I'm with you on that because it's like, you know, you said a lot of things today. Excuse me for trying to be live. Anyway,
right?
Y'all hear? Did you hear that?
Yeah, it was the motorcycle.
Yeah. So I forgot my point after that. But anyway, my
no, you were saying that there was some confirmations because I was.
So yeah, earlier before we started this live, you said a lot of things that, you know, I don't know. It's just like you have your own thoughts in your head about what you want to do and things, the conclusions that you come to or whatever. And you write your little notes. I don't know about you, but that's how I do. Like I have different books for different stuff thanks to you. But like, you know, I have a book where I write like a lot of my business ideas, a lot of like just, you know, different things or whatever. And some of the things that I kind of like wrote down and came across today, you were right along on that path with the things that you were talking about, but you wouldn't have no way of knowing that because I didn't talk to you before that. So it was, that was just, you know, just little things like that. If you're paying attention and you being, I guess, intentional, you know what I'm saying? Like I watched this lady today. She is a YouTuber and she is changing her lifestyle because she's getting older and she's retired and she's doing whatever she wants to do. And part of what she wanted to do was like travel the world and ride across, you know, sometimes she's camping and sometimes she'll get her a nice Airbnb or whatever. But she was telling a story about how along her way, she has come in contact with a lot of the puzzle pieces that she needed to do things that she wanted to do, like maybe places that she wanted to visit. She meets somebody that lives there, or, you know, she's in a restaurant and all the tables are full, but they have a table for 4, which is cool for her because it's just her. But then she asked somebody else if they wanted to sit with her, and it happened to be a piece to her puzzle. And then the Airbnb that she rented, hey, Just Jay, the Airbnb that she rented, the person had the same name as her. So it's like little stuff like that, you know, that you don't pay attention to if you're not, you know, if you're just so busy thinking about what bills you got to pay and, you know, kids need or whatever. And, you know, my week has been crazy because of the main thing that I've been trying to do is not catch COVID. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And no, so, there's something.
Yeah. So I mean, nobody would know because I didn't come over here and tell anybody, but my son had tested positive with COVID, but he is in college. So because he tested positive, they were like, oh, you got to go isolate at home. So now I'm like, okay, so I got to try not to get it, but then I still got to, you know, like, care for him because you're not about to be just walking around the house.
Right.
So yeah, so it's been like, you know, kind of on one end it was like chill, but then on another end it wasn't. So anyway, but I do feel like I'm in a moment where I'm just like what am I really doing right now? What, like, I can make these decisions and like this could happen, but then, you know, I'm just in the middle part, like, okay, is this a smart decision? What are you gonna do? What about this? And so that's where I'm at right now.
Let me suggest something really crazy that I've just started doing in the last week. So you're not gonna necessarily do it like this, but maybe it'll just be a good laugh. Okay, so it dawned on me last week? It was 2 weeks ago. So I listened to a lot of recently I've been listening to a lot of Jim Rohn and I always believe in and I listen to you know, Earl Nightingale, right? You put me onto a lot of stuff that he recorded. And it's funny because now they're just like, you know, they're just like podcasts. It was just a radio program back then.
And way back then.
Tapes. So anyway, as I was listening to them maybe like a few weeks ago, I identified to myself, like I had an aha moment, like, oh, you're talking poorly to yourself. And that's not really getting you anywhere, is it, Faith? So then I started to think to myself, well, it's a habit. So I can't so then I started noticing when I was talking bad to myself. And then I started to beat myself up more like, look at you, you idiot. You're doing it again. And I was like, this is more of the same.
What the fuck?
Then I realized, and I'm not psychotic, but I just have to tell you what I said I was going to do. I'm not going to do this forever, but it's been so beneficial. So I realized, okay, one of the people I like to watch is Jenny Pitton, Planner Perfect. And her whole shtick is, script out your life. You're write a better story, right? That's her tagline for Planner Perfect, write a better story. And she does these plan books where she sends out a little, subscription box, and you get like 1 month at a time. It's like a little notebook or whatever. You get 1 month at a time and you're writing your story. Every time I get that subscription and I hold it in my hand and I put the washi tape on the pages, I be thinking like, this is going to be my best month so far. And as I'm putting the washi tape on the pages, I be thinking to myself like, I'm going to write a bomb ass story. Like I just did it this week. And I was thinking about how at the end of October, I'm going to be like, wow, I didn't know we could do that. Right. And so this is what I'm telling myself. So then I even took it a step further and I had these other notebooks. I got one crazy looking one.
Way,
she's
guys,
like a regular.
When she says she has notebooks, like she has many staples. I never go and buy any of my planner stuff, any of my little bullet journals and the nice little colors. And I'm not talking about those little cheesy little CVS $5 ones or whatever. I'm talking about these are nice, expensive ones with the dotted grid lines or whatever. I don't know about you, but I like dotted grid lines. And I just had to take this moment to do a commercial because you had all the types of pens that you would want. And again, I'm not talking about no little cheap little big pens. Like these are pens that when I get them from her, nobody better not keep my pen if they have to write with it because I was trying to look for some. I usually have them right here. But anyway, she has like a mini Staples with a lot of Erin Condrick and Lectern stuff. And so if you are into planner stuff, journaling, she has every journal that is hot out right now. Like if you're in the planner world, I bet you she got it. I can hold up a pen right now and she could probably tell you what this pen
is. Oh yeah, that's a G2. It looks like a 07. It's a Pilot G2.
Now I just flashed that junk and y'all see what it is.
Yeah, I know what every pen is. You know what's so funny? I actually watched the news like that.
It's not even funny. She knows.
I watch the news like that. I'll be looking at the news and I'll see like Obama was writing something one time. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a Uniball signal. He probably likes a thick bold line. Well, he likes a gel pen, or I could see him using fountain pens. But like, I can look at stuff and see exactly what they're writing with. And it's really weird. But you know what? I feel like that's going to be my thing. Like I'm going to start a company where I sell that stuff because I know exactly what something should feel like. I know how long it should take for the ink to dry. Like I know all that stuff. Anyway, let me finish this one part because we didn't even got to the topic yet.
Wait, but tell everybody your YouTube channel and your Instagram.
So it's Yes I'm a Unicorn 24/7.
And that's YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Okay. All right, you can continue.
So anyway. I was laughing because this is gonna be real crazy. And listen, some of the things that I suggest, I don't necessarily think everybody's gonna follow it the way that I do it, but it might spark your ideas to be like, you know what, that's a concept. Maybe I should take that idea and do something different with it. What works for me. Anyway, so I had recognized that I was speaking poorly to myself, and I was like, I gotta stop doing that. And then I started to beat myself up about that, like, well, why are you doing this again? And I'm like, well, that's not cool. And I was like, there's 3 people in there now, right? So talking to me, but there's not. There's just me, guys. But I thought to myself, and I was thinking about Jenny Pitton's tagline of "Write a Better Story." Yes, the tone of our self-talk is so important. And I was like, you know what? I'm just a human being having a human experience. And I've been taught, I've learned along the way. I'm not going to say anybody taught me this, but like I've learned along the way to compare myself. And what site?
I don't know. I was going to ask.
She might have been saying Erin Condren for the notebooks.
Oh.
ErinCondren.com. But I'm gonna put my YouTube in there in a second. Okay. But as a matter of fact, I'll just say hi to everybody, and you can probably just click my
Hopefully, because you should be tripping sometimes. That's okay. That's okay.
But anyway, so here's what I was doing, right? So I was like, I really need to check myself on that negative self-talk, and I was like, I don't want to track how many times I talk negatively to myself, but going in with Jenny Pitton's idea of writing a better story, right? I was like, what if there's 2 stories happening, right? And I'm choosing. Like there's only one story happening. It's my story. But what if when I'm saying, oh, I'm going to talk negatively for myself, I'm writing the negative side of the story, right? And so you know me, I have alter egos. And one of them, like whenever anything happens to me that's like stupid, like I have a hangover or something I did to myself to put myself in a situation that is not good, I call that person Troy, right? I'm like, damn, Troy. Troy's fucking it up for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And it gives me a way to be like, well, it wasn't me. I literally say things to myself. And it's so funny. I'm like,
yo, Troy, you went deep with that one. Like, I mean, you're right. If you name the person, it's not.
It gets sicker than that, but it's hilarious because it actually makes me laugh out loud, which you cannot be negative self-talking to yourself when you're laughing out loud. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm laughing at myself, right? Like, I can't be mad at myself. So it's just like, okay, so I started to talk about Troy, and then one of my other alter egos is Audrey, and she's like the diligent worker, and she's like, you know, I'm gonna get this done. I don't care. I don't have any complaints. Da 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 da. So yes, you do need to invent a Troy for yourself. Let me give you some pointers about that. It has to be like an annoying name. Like it has to be like I actually picked Troy, which is not an annoying name, but. Because Troy is like cool. I have a whole personality, and it's a him actually. It's a him, and he's like a bartender, and he just goes out and wants all the fun. He's always late for shit. He's a drinker. He's offensive. Like he doesn't care about people's feelings. He just wants to have a good time. And people want Troy around because they love to laugh at him. And they love to have a good time. But he gets in the way of the other people that live inside of my head that are trying to get shit done. So
yeah, that is fun guy as shit.
So here's what I did, and this is what's funny because this is what I recognized, and I didn't have to do it for long. I probably did it for like 4 or 5 days, and then I haven't stopped completely, but I've just been so busy this week. So I was like, okay, you're gonna choose which story you're writing, right? Like either you're gonna be down on yourself, and you're gonna be like, Troy's never gonna make it because he's stupid and he doesn't have any faith in himself. And these are the things that Troy's focused on. Everything that's going wrong. Oh, whatever. We're stuck in the light. We got stuck in traffic. Da, 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 da. So I started writing Troy's story in this shitty notebook. And then I started writing Audrey's story. And every time I write something about Troy, I make myself write something about Audrey. And I started to put it in one book, but I was like, no, because there's going to be times that I don't even want to touch the Troy book. I just want to flip right to Audrey.
Hold up. Okay, Audrey. Okay, so who's Audrey? We know who Troy is.
Yo, I sound crazy.
Like type of breakthrough counseling session right now because sometimes I can think of certain moments where like, is Troy like the can crushing bro white guy?
Nah, Troy's just like, all right.
Cause but I'm just thinking of certain situations that we've been in, and you turned into this other person. So this might be real serious.
Okay, no. No, I can name certain situations. I didn't turn into them, but it's just like there was this one time that this guy was trying to talk to me at this club, and I was bent. I was drunk, and he was like a shorter guy, and he had like a bald head, and I was like standing there singing like I was standing there singing something like "Diamond in the back, some rooftop, tickets," like, and I was drunk, guys. I'm sorry, but it was funny. But I realized like he's not having a good time. You know what I'm saying? And he was like an annoying guy, but because he kept coming back up to you, and I was like trying to get you away from him. Like, you don't need to entertain him. Like, come over here. And I just remember like the next day I was just like, that wasn't nice. You know what I'm saying? Like Troy does stuff like that. And like you were laughing, but I was just thinking the next day, like that man probably was not having a good time.
It wasn't about him having a good time at that point. But no. I agree. Like you know, I'm all about the self-talk or whatever. I mean,
and I'm not saying take it that extreme, right? But it's just the idea that like you're either writing a story for Troy or you're writing a story for yourself. Audrey, could be also considered myself, right?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, if you think about it, like, a lot of times this is what I do currently, right? Because everybody that knows me knows that I try to stay on the positive side. Now, I do have, it doesn't mean that I'm like 100% positive all the time. And if you tell me something, I'm going to be like, well, at least you have shoes. Like, I'm not going to be like that. Like, I'm realistic. And I do have my moments where I'm not positive. And so it's like a ongoing thing. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you need to think through the negative part, but don't stay there. You know what I mean? That was the advice you gave me earlier too.
Sometimes that's the thing. Like sometimes the negative is the springboard into flipping into positive, which is why Troy was invented. Because it's like I have these thoughts. They're not gonna like disappear. I have to be in that moment for a second, but then I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to flip it. And which is why I did 2 notebooks. Because at first I was going to do 1 notebook, but I was like, no, I definitely want to separate them. All right. So Ellen just said,
I mean, but Rick, before you say that, please hold your thought because I don't want you to forget your point. You know, a lot of times what I find myself doing is like, you know, I like to talk shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's harmless shit talking. But sometimes I'm like, okay, before I start to like criticize somebody else or whatever, I stop to think, okay, well, it's really not going to benefit me to even like complete the thought about that. And so when you're doing the Troy story or whatever, I gotta think that you probably halfway through be like, this is ridiculous. Like
it is. And I exaggerated. I exaggerated because if you're gonna shit on yourself, like let's make it funny. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll literally go in there and exaggerate. And so Ellen was like, we need a reading of Troy. I was just looking at some stuff in there, and it was basically like, you know, Troy's majoring in the minors, which is, you know, something that Jim Rohn says about like you're focused on all these small things that aren't going to matter, right? You're majoring in the minors. So I just wrote that about Troy's majoring in the minors. Such a piss poor, you know, behavior, like, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll sit there and I'll break it out and be like, you know, where's that going to get him? Right. And sometimes I'll talk about it in third person. It's not like a diary of Troy. It's just like me describing Troy and Troy's thinking. And I'll just exaggerate and just be like, you know, he's a stinking thinker. Right. And here's what's going to happen to him if he continues. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. It's not going to get anywhere. Then he's going to be frustrated. Then he's going to be this and he's going to be that. He must be this. Right now, then I get all of that out of my head. Then I'll go and be like, you know what? Audrey's so good about just making sure she's doing this. And she just, even when she doesn't feel good, she's just going to give it her all. And she's always focused on the most intentional thing because she knows that when she does that, she's going to get the reward because you don't get a bad thing out of good work. You know what I'm saying? So then that just gets my mind going. And I'm like, yeah. So sometimes I just got to stop and pause and write for like 10 minutes. And then after that, it's just like, I'm back, baby. So, I mean, this sounds crazy, and maybe I'm crazy.
I think
I'm just embracing it.
So people say that all the time, and they laugh or whatever. But I think it's funny because we have this dog, and I don't really think about him in the sense of, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. Right now, it's just like, oh, I know, when it's time to feed him, he lets me know. I know when it's time to feed him, but he usually just comes and is like, hey, what you doing? Yeah. But he's watching me more than I'm watching him. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the time, if he's off sleeping or playing with his toy, I'm doing me. You know what I mean? But I notice most that he's watching me in times where I'll be like, you look crazy, or you look like, how do you look or whatever, right? Like earlier, I was in the kitchen about to cook, and I have this habit of like, I don't know. When I get in the kitchen and I'm about to cook something, I start to be like, I do my little dance, like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, da, da, da. And so earlier, what's that?
That was the same situation you had somebody driving by. It sounds like in a monster truck.
Earlier, I was about to make something to eat. And I was like, for some reason, I had finished watching the David Shands and Donnie Wiggins Social Proof podcast from earlier today. And it was about leveraging money or something like that, right? But they was basically having a conversation. And that's the thing, like when you having a conversation or when you watching somebody have a conversation, those two people or however many people are involved in the conversation are trying to get points out but everybody's not going to get the same point. And like, if you walk away, he said this too, if you walk away with a better understanding of what your path is, or if you walk away with a, you know, a different conclusion to something that you may have been thinking about, like everybody gets something different out of the conversation. But anyway, in that they were talking about how money comes and money goes. So you know how you get a song stuck in your head sometimes. I was in there, I was like, you know, money comes, money goes. I was like, money comes, money goes. Something to the effect of like, bring it here or something. I don't know. It rhymed at the time, and so when I realized it rhymed, I kept saying it, and I did put a little dance to it or whatever in front of the stove, right? And just as I was getting into the little dance, I looked up, and he's sitting there like,
"What are you doing?"
Sitting there looking at me like, and I'm like, I look crazy, don't I? And he just like, I was like, he probably really thinks, because he sees all of those stupid moments like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
In the mirror, and I was just like, yo, if he can talk or whatever. But anyway, I don't really know where I was going with that point, but it just made me think about how he was looking at me when I was standing in the kitchen dancing, and how crazy I probably look. I don't know what my alter ego would be though, but that is funny as hell. And I'm
telling you, it's fun, and then you don't have to ever be accountable for anything. You're never getting your life. You just blame the other person. Like, damn, Troy made me late. And then, like, here's the thing. Here's how you got to pick the name. It's got to be one of those names where you could see yourself like gossiping about them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, whenever I get a pimple, I'll call it like Cornelius or Norman or something, right? Like, fucking Cornelius. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it sounds right. It's just like, you just came to ruin the day. You're annoying ass. You know what I'm saying? And then if you think about a name, and it could be, you know, maybe not a person that you ever met or whatever, but just a name that you would think to say if you were naming a character, like, this person is always just nagging, or, you know, whatever your alter ego is, like whatever you put yourself down for in your head. You know what I'm saying? You know what to name that. You know what to name that person.
Man, this is you gotta
think about it. It's just gonna pop up to you like when you in the shower, or you like working out. It's just gonna come in your head, and you're gonna be like, that's the name.
See,
I'm telling you, it's so funny. Well, speaking of that, speaking of your pet story, I was laughing because one time I thought to myself, like, what if, Buttercup is my cat. I was like, what if she got like a 24-hour period to speak English? Like, I wonder what she would say, or if she could tell people, like, you know what I'm saying, the things that she saw me doing. And like,
cats be talking shit.
My owner is so weird. She just, you know what I'm saying? Listen, there's all these index cards everywhere.
If your cat could talk, well, shit, if our pets could talk, they probably would have a lot to say. Like, I'm pretty sure they would read us down to the ground. I think Just Jay got a cat too. But yeah, cats be in the background talking shit. If Buttercup could talk, she would cut.
She said, "Why, Siobhan? This is so funny. People are giving themselves
I gotta think of mine.
Ego names. Yes, Tata G. Everybody's gonna have an alter ego name by tomorrow." She said she's looking for names. Blake. Oh my gosh.
I like that actually.
That's what I think. It should be a unisex name. Like, it should be a non-binary name, so that it could be either a male or female. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just know that it's that person.
Hold on, man. What's going on?
Anyway, all right, moving right along, because we didn't even plan to talk about that. I was just exploring my issues for the world to see.
That was funny.
Let's get into this. You know what? Speaking of how life should go, I just switched the topic to the top that was at the bottom, because this is a quick one, and I wanted to talk about it. My supervisor, who I actually love, my supervisor, he actually was asking me the other day, like, what do you think about Doja Cat's eyebrows? And I had no idea what he was talking about, so I had to go look it up. And then he sent me some pictures. And she's been doing this thing with her eyebrows where she's been drawing them like really super thin. Like, I think she shaved them off. And now she's just like expressing herself through her eyebrows, basically. And they look weird and funny, but it's like one of those things. But anyway, this is not what this is about. She actually painted herself gold, right? and the look on her face. Here's the thing. I feel like when I saw this photo, I was like, you know what? She's living her life right. She's living her life to the utmost. She does not care what people think. She's having a good time. The way she sat there in this gold paint, like she wasn't sweating, like she wasn't even, like she didn't even think that it was abnormal at all. And I was just like,
Can
yo.
you do me a favor and can you share it to me so I can pull it up? Because I cannot do that for some reason.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at her and I was like, yo, here, I'll put it in a private chat. Is that good?
I think, hold on, let me see.
I wonder if I could put it up on my, I could probably put it up on my screen.
Yeah, and then I'll just share your screen because somehow the way that I have this over here won't give me the option to share. It just lets me present right now, which I don't want to present any slides or anything. So anyway, yeah, you put it, like, I'm looking at it right now and I'm like,
yo, what's so funny about it is
that
like,
her? I guess
that is her. And I laughed to myself.
Totally different.
Because, oh, you know what? It's going to make me do this. It says, it's easier to share on two computers. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to minimize this.
Hold on, let me see.
We're like having technical, not difficulties, but oh, there it is. Window, share. All right, there it is. So I looked at this picture, and I was literally thinking to myself, like,
that looks great.
Yo,
but I gotta look more into it. I don't want to judge her off of that, but
she just really doesn't care. Somebody was like, you should have done your makeup to accentuate your face, even though you're doing gold. You should have done, deeper makeup and da-da-da. She was like, I didn't fucking do it to be attractive. I was, there's a story to this, so just relax, right? And I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, whoever decides to do this, right, has a plan of some sort, and I'm never gonna understand. But
like how that girl Spice, she had she did herself like she did something where she had put like this light makeup on or whatever, and everybody thought she had like lightened her skin and stuff like that, but she did it for a reason.
She did it for a purpose to talk about like the skin brightening issue, right? And I think her point got across because when people thought she did it for sure, like that she actually lightened her skin, it brought up so much conversation about why that's not a good idea and how dangerous it is. But she did that makeup, and the makeup looked real. I really thought she had actually gone through with whatever they do to lighten skin.
I did too.
And I mean, but the conversation that was brought about after that was bomb, because I was like, yeah, people need to understand, like, this is a conversation that needs to be ongoing because there is colorism and there are people out here doing things like this themselves. I don't know I don't claim to know why Doja Cat did this, but when I looked at it, it gave me this understanding that, like, okay, she's out here living her life for herself, and that is amazing, because like so many times you get up in the morning, you're like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta be over here, I gotta do that. I don't really know if that's what Doja Cat is into. I feel like she probably get up like excited, like, I'm gonna express myself today, and however it comes out, there's no rules. Like, I'm just gonna do me, whatever I feel like doing, however I have an idea, we'll see how it plays out. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like doing, and I'm not gonna go this extreme with my thought pattern, but I will say I respect that, because she's just sitting there chilling, like, she's like, it's not even abnormal.
I know.
I just think that's very cool.
Thing is throwing me off. Like,
the what?
Her hand is throwing me off because she ain't put no gold paint on her hand or whatever. But I have to look and see what the story behind it was.
I mean, she was at some fashion show or something. My thinking was just like, for somebody to show
like she
like
could be
this,
a statue right there.
It's just obviously she just doesn't care, like, about other people's thoughts. And she has on this jacket with this fur, and it's really not that hot and where yeah, I mean, it's not really not that cold yet. So I know she was sweating, but she just didn't even care. Like, she was pulling this off. Like, for whatever reason she needed to pull it off, and I just was like, okay, I can dig it. I can dig the thought behind it, the thought that, like, I'm not going to care what other people think. I'm just going to go and pull off my idea, and however it comes off is however it comes off. And I was like, I need to have a little bit more of that. You know what I'm saying?
I am concerned about the eyebrows though, because I see this other picture of her and she basically did shave her eyebrows off.
Let me show you my favorite eyebrow picture of her. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, okay, this is her. Yo, what is going on? I don't really
have a black
understand.
Eye?
Huh?
Does she have a black eye?
I think that's makeup. Or maybe it's not. Maybe that's why she did the whole gold thing. All right, so wait a minute. These right here are so funny to me. Like, this is hilarious. Like, she's doing a whole thing. I can dig it. Okay, this is hilarious. You have to not care to do stuff like this.
I mean, there is something to be said about not giving a fuck what people think about you, because those people don't, rule your life. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a waste of time to be worried about what people think. But I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Right here.
I don't know what's happening. Look at this. This is hilarious.
I mean, she do kind of look like Solange. Just Jay said that she thought it was Solange.
I thought this was makeup, but I don't know. Maybe she really did have a black eye. No, it doesn't look like it. Anyway, so yeah, shout out to Doja Cat, because I don't really know what she's on, but I just thought that was cool that she
I don't know. You know what? I feel like I'm actually in the crowd of, people be like, back in my day, because I don't know what's going on with some of these new artists. Like, I know they do music and I know there's somebody famous, but I don't really know how famous they are, because this is one person that I just do not follow. So I feel old in saying that. And somebody gonna be like, you don't know who Doja Cat is? Like, I know who she is, but yeah.
No, I feel you. Like, I don't know any of her music by heart. I know she makes good music. I've heard some of her songs that I like, but I couldn't tell you. Like, I couldn't name one on a game show. I mean, like, listen, I'm old. Like, I'm old enough to not care who's out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a time that I cared. There was a time that I was like, who's that on the radio? Like, I need to know. And now I just be like, you know what I'm saying? I got too many places to be.
Hilarious.
Anyway, I do like that. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is not necessarily, we're not going to make this heavier than it is. I have some thoughts about Kanye and whatever he's
doing. I would love to hear your thoughts about this, because I was going to talk about this on what's going on or whatever, but I didn't do a show this week because this week was crazy. But anyway, yes, what are your thoughts? I'm interested to hear your thoughts about this.
All right. Well, so I still have respect for Kanye. You know what I'm saying? I do, but every now, like, I think he's into this routine where he does these tricks. You know what I'm saying? I'm likening it to when a child acts out. Like, you don't give them all the attention. You just kind of like, let them have a fit. And then when it gets to be too bad, somebody might get popped. But I think what he's doing is a mix between marketing and having psychotic breaks. But, I'm not sure how to differentiate them sometimes. I think some of what he says makes a lot of sense sometimes. Sometimes he'll hit on a point and I'm like, wow, that's a really good point. But then other times it's like, what are you doing? And I've learned over the years that, like, I just can't take anything he does or says too seriously, to the point where, I mean, it never affects my day or anything like that, but like, he can't offend me because he doesn't represent me. You know what I'm saying? So like, I take from him when he has something good. Like, he had this song that I still love. Like, he has a bunch of songs that I still love. But he had a song out on this Donda album that I will play. We actually had it as our alarm. It was called Praise God. And I love the song itself. Like, I love the production on it. And then when he did a couple years ago, when he did the choir thing, he has some bangers on that thing. I still listen to some of that stuff.
Man, I have to watch that video. I actually watched that video when they were on the plane. It's
a
short video, but like, because I only watched that part where they were doing the songs or whatever. like music is universal, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something to be said about that. He is a genius. I feel like musically, and I feel like, you know, a message can be taken from anybody. I could go outside right now and a crackhead could be walking towards me and be like, the building on fire down there, are they shooting? That might be good information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He may be wrong about everything else he's talking about. So, I mean, as far as Kanye, I always be like, you know, whose week is it to watch him? And this is one of those situations because now he's acting all shocked, like, oh my God, what, y'all mad or whatever. And it's just like, bruh, okay, what are you doing? But he knew what he was doing because of who he did it with. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's that? Do you have that? The other. Sorry,
I do. Let me see if I can bring it up. And you know, I really had to think to myself, like, do I even want to show this?
Yeah, I thought I went back and forth about that too. But like those two people, that just
because I don't
that
like her. Now,
this.
there's a person that I don't really like to say this, but I don't like her. Okay, I will say that. I don't even know if I have that particular picture. Let me see.
Facts.
I have the picture of the shirt. Yeah, you know what? Let me just be 100. I don't like her, and I won't show a picture of her because I don't think that she's about nothing. You know, I think that she's a straight up.
She's trash.
I think that she's a straight up like bottom feeding Uncle Tom Sambo ass bitch. Excuse my language, y'all. I'm sorry. I hate
you just went all the way in.
But you know what? I'm not here for her, and I don't even want to say her name. But I'll say this, you know, even that. Okay, so this is what's so funny. I heard this thing one time where somebody was like, you know, talking about like Adam and Eve and how she talked to a snake or whatever, and they were like, "What are you doing talking to a snake?" And it's like, I get how he manipulates his platform to ease in and out, get attention when he needs it, when he needs to market something, and then dip right back out. And like I mentioned earlier, that he, you know, I liken him to a child who acts out, and then sometimes, you know, you get popped. And so that's what I think happened to him this time, because most of the time he just gets away with it. Most of the time he just, hey Gwendolyn, most of the time he just gets away with it. But this time I feel like, you know, Black Twitter popped him like, oh no, don't do that though, right? And I feel like just like a little kid who gets in trouble and gets popped, he starts crying. And where were y'all when my kids were? Listen, it doesn't work like that. You didn't, you know what I'm saying? We're not helping you with your kids. We're not losing sleep because you didn't get to go to your daughter's birthday party. Like, you're okay. She's okay, right? Like, we don't care about you like that. We appreciate your work, but you don't get to, we're not worshiping you, right? So like, that's what I would want him to know, is that we're not worshiping you. We appreciate your work. And yeah, you've made a lot of money and fame for yourself, but that's really not, you know what I'm saying, life. So
that,
but what is life is what you're doing and how it's affecting people. So when people come back and say like, we're not feeling you on that, don't wear that shirt no more, I'm sure he heard it from all sides. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a good look for you. So people are going to say something when you do that. And just like a kid who gets popped, you know, you're going to start crying. And you don't get to cry. You know what I'm saying? What do you say to a kid who acts out and then gets popped and then cries? What do we say to that
your
kid?
Ass up.
you better learn next time. And I should have hit you harder. And I should blah blah blah. And go to your room.
More? Listen,
I
think that it was D.L. Hughley, but somebody reposted that conversation that him and Van Lathan had from TMZ when he was on TMZ that time, and Van took the time out to tell him, you know,
yes,
it's the same thing. It's like, you know, you said that, okay, we're not worshiping him, no, but there probably are a good amount of people who fucking are, you know what I'm saying, which makes his reality very different than everybody else's. And look who he's married to, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of these people are like, their days consist of, let me see how we can get a reaction out of the public now. And they don't even need all of us. They just need a percentage of people to keep doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? And I just can't believe that, you know, I know that he's, you know, got issues and all of that, but some of the stuff that, like, now I really am going to say, like, some of the stuff that people do for money is kind of crazy to me.
Here's the thing. It's like eating Doritos for dinner. You can't get full off that. You can't get full off fame. You can't get full off money. You know what I'm saying? You can get full off love. You can get full off of what fulfills you. I'm sure he can get full off of making music, but that's not what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's manipulating the market to get what he wants. He wants a reaction. He wants to prove that he has power in the financial space. He wants to prove something, and you can't get full off that. You know what I'm saying? You're just going to harm yourself. And so I feel like he's playing a game, and, sometimes you got to really just be accountable for the damage that you've done. And when you look around and you see yourself standing next to snakes, and you see yourself, bitten, like, you got to realize that you put yourself there. And so I'm not wishing any harm on him or anything like that, but
no,
he's playing a dirty game.
But I think that I feel you on that. And but I think that when you say stuff like that, not you, but in order for you to come to that conclusion, you're thinking, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of the people who are making the decisions that we're discussing, they're thinking on a whole total different plane, and it's not even in their purview to be like, let me check myself, or let me, what is this morally right, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just about that dollar that they're getting and how they're getting that dollar. Like, think about, like you said, he's positioned himself to where he can like slide in and out, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can come and get the attention, eat it up, for whatever reason, whether it's a clothing thing to be dropped, a album or whatever, and then go back and live their life for like months at a time doing nothing else, you know what I'm saying, in the public. And it's like, that becomes what I feel like they thrive off versus, actually being a good person, or, and stuff like that. But Ellen said Ye don't have issues. I don't know. Ye might have issues, man.
I think he has issues. I think he doesn't always have issues. He's not always having one of these. I think
he's playing up on some of the issues that he does have. So maybe they're not as egregious as we think they are, but
I think he's not as sick as he leads on. I'm not saying he's not sick. Let me say this the right way, because I'm not trying to say he's not sick. I think that he has episodes. I think that, but I think he has many more publicity stunts than we think that he might be trying to,
because we don't know what to believe, right? It's just like, are you serious? Are you not serious? But like I said, a lot of the things, I think this always for me goes back to, this is sounding crazy as I think about it, but Hollywood controls a lot of stuff, right? I mean, even like the media or whatever. And it's just like, in order to affect an audience, you just have to play on certain emotions. And that's what I was saying about that Dahmer thing or whatever. Everything inspires. It's just, what kind of thing is it inspiring? But it's just like, they know how to play on emotions or whatever. And if somebody has a mental illness, or if you tell a bunch of people that, oh, this person has a mental illness, then the majority that those people are going to have understanding, or, and
it's like singing a gospel song at Apollo.
Well, it's like a child. Once you realize, oh, I got away with that when I cried. Yeah, maybe I'll just cry. I mean, the dog does it. You know what I'm saying? When he notices that I do something, when he does something, like if he's whining, I will not give him nothing, because he thinks that he just has the wine to get it. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I digress. I don't know what the fuck we were talking about, but
we're just talking about how, these things, and I understand that why people got upset by this, but it actually didn't upset me, because it's just antics, and like, whatever he's going to do, he's going to do. I do think he was saying on that Drink Champs interview, which will bring me to my next topic. Thank you very much, Ellen. That's a great segue. But he did not upset me, because I just don't take him seriously, because it's like he's just always having these issues that are like, I don't know. It's just like, go sit down somewhere, man. Like, I'm not watching you anymore. Like, you're not getting no more of my attention, type of thing. So, okay. This is our next topic. Ellen, thank you very much for that. So it was announced, I don't know, like maybe yesterday, that
she said, and I wasn't drunk. She wasn't drunk.
Yeah, he was apparently, I think he did drink on that episode. I can't remember. Or maybe he smoked. I can't remember. But he anyway, that's a whole nother story. The point is this, he's got some issues, and I'm just not here for going through all his issues with him. He has a lot of money and resources, and he's going to have to figure it out. But I'm just not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just doesn't get that much of my attention. Now, when he does something good that I like, you know what I'm saying? Great. Like I don't know how much he had to do with that documentary. I appreciated seeing the documentary. I appreciate the work that he put into his career, and some of the music that he's created is really, you know what I'm saying, like a part of my life. Like, I'm never going to stop listening to like Jesus Walks, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like that first album, College Dropout, is like one of the best albums. So, you know, that's great, but I'm not here for his antics. Like, no, I'm never voting for you for president, and I'm not buying any Yeezys.
See, but it'd be that silly shit. It'd be that silly shit that you'd be like, that'll fucking never happen. And then look at Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I thought she was joking like shit when she first came out. But now I'm like, oh, she wasn't.
Yeah.
For real. And then she hit me. But like, that's just also proof that you really don't have to know what the fuck you're doing before you do it. You just need to get on the ride and do the thing. And then eventually all of that should come together if you're like doing it, right?
Yeah, if you're intentional about it, you're showing up. Yeah. Because most of the people who are going to be, I guess, considered your competition, they're going to stop showing up. As long as you need to be the last person standing, you don't have to be the best. You know what I'm saying? You definitely don't. Like, you just
absolutely. Have to be... But the fear of not being the best is what stops most people from even trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't already talk yourself out of it before you've even started to even see if anybody likes what you like. But listen, in 2022, it's an audience for everyone.
For sure. For sure. Speaking of that, listen, Caresha, please.
Cardi's still joking.
Yeah, and Cardi got me with that. Actually, that's the really the reason why I really got into her, because she was funny, and she, you know, she used to put that stuff on it. She still does put stuff on her Instagram, but she's funny.
I remember, it's so crazy because thinking about stuff like this makes me realize how much time I wasted on certain stuff, and it's just like, you know. Not saying that I didn't do anything in the last few years, but it's like sometimes you have ideas and you just always have multiple ideas in the back of your mind. And then you look up and somebody else has done something else, right? That maybe like they had a baby, or maybe they like, you know, took a 2-year something and made a transformation. But it's like, damn, what the fuck was I doing when you was doing that? I remember watching when she got on to... was it Love and Hip Hop? But I remember looking at those fucking Instagrams and like thinking of how funny she was. Like, yeah, I was laughing at them jumps. But fast forward, like I never ever thought that she was gonna do what she's done. And then when she first had came out, I was like, is she for real with this? Like, she's not. What? And that was kind of how I looked at the Trump thing. I didn't believe nothing about that.
Oh,
when he
man.
I was like, yeah, Trump, and he's not going to win. And look what happened.
Oh, that thing got legs. I swear. But that just shows you how little of the best you have to be. You just have to get, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to get it in your mind that you're not going to stop until the end. I think he shocked himself.
Now, I want to say this is no shade to Cardi. Like, she's doing her thing. I can't hate on the sister, but everybody that knows, hey, you have to admit that she thought she was playing when she came out starting talking about she was going to be a rapper. And I feel like that's probably why Nicki mad now too.
I'm not hateful towards her or anything like that, but you know, especially in the beginning, she wasn't like the best rapper. There's plenty of rappers out there who are better rappers than her, females, right? Like there's certain people who I just don't understand how they didn't make, like Shauna Guy, like she's probably the dopest female MC ever. Like, you know, I love her. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, you know, it just not.
What happened to her?
Well, I mean, she's still around. I don't know if she's making music anymore, but I mean, like, here's the thing. It's not necessarily just about talent. Like Cardi B had opportunities. She showed up. She was consistent. Like, I have to think that has something to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then, I mean, the industry is also built in a way where you kind of have to be flexible in a way that a lot of people, oh my gosh, that's why.
No, okay, so did you watch the Jocelyn's Cabaret on Zeus?
I never saw like an episode, but I've seen so many clips that I feel like I watched it.
Okay, so I mean, now that she said that, like, I do have to admit that song in the beginning, that she wrote a song, and it's like the intro. It's a long ass intro, but after the song go off, you still gonna be singing that song. I wanna ride. Hey, anybody that watched it would know what I'm talking about. But when I listen to Jocelyn over Cardi, they're both funny as hell.
I've heard one of her songs. They've played one of her songs. Like I've heard a couple of her songs, and she's not all the way horrible.
No, but
I would definitely listen to Cardi over Jocelyn. Like Cardi's not that bad.
You don't have to be perfect and have it all figured out before you start. Like
Cardi B is not a bad rapper. I think she's good. I mean, but like, come on, Megan Thee Stallion is a better rapper. I'm not saying one has to be better than the other, but I mean, like, Megan Thee Stallion is like a real rapper. Like I don't say a real rapper. That sounds so horrible. I'm not trying to say Cardi B is not a real rapper. I'm just saying that where she started from, she wasn't great, but she got a lot better, and she's good. I'm not saying she's not good.
I was like, for real, and now look what she did. But like I said,
and I have a couple of her albums too. Like I like her. You know what I'm saying? I don't play her music a lot.
More confirmation that, stop spending so much time thinking that you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. Right. All you got to do is start. That's all I
start and don't stop. And like, that's what I'm realizing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's move on to this next topic. This is some news that came out, I think, yesterday about Carisha Please, which is the podcast, and Drink Champs have shared the best, platform award on the BET Hip Hop Awards. Now,
did you watch it?
I watched what?
BET Awards in years. I heard it came on yesterday.
I have not seen the BET Awards in years either. So this is the Hip Hop Awards too. So this is even a different thing than
this is something
awards.
Different than that. This is
now I watched
somebody saying that last night or whatever, but
here's the thing. I appreciate that, they're giving people, especially content creators like podcasters, awards like this. Charlemagne said some things that I agree with. He actually asked Diddy, did he pay for this? And he was like, what? He was like, did you pay for Carisha? I guess he was asking if he paid for Carisha to win because they're dating, or, that's what's being rumored or whatever. I think they are dating, but
I think so.
Because he was like, she only has 5 episodes or something like that. I think she probably has. I don't know. I didn't even look.
She has to have more than...
She might not, though, because if you think about it, all the ones that I've seen marketed, those might be the only ones. I didn't know.
That I remember is
that's a good point, because you're not sure, are you?
Kevin Gates,
like that lets you know that it could be true. Like, you know what I'm saying? That lets you know right there that.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I don't
want to establish.
I know she did Kevin Gates. The Kevin Gates one was good. Like that one was good. I like Kevin Gates. I don't know why, but I like Kevin Gates. He's a craze too, but like you. But anyway, there was the Kevin Gates one. I know that Diddy did one, and I feel like it was
Megan Thee Stallion did one. She did one with Saweetie. She did one with her bandmate, or her, the other part of what is she? I forget. Why is it messing with me? Are they the City Girls?
Yeah, JT from the City Girls.
Okay. So that one was interesting too, because that one had Saucy Santana, I think, was there on that one. But listen, I can't recall any others, and there might be more. But the idea is that,
I mean, well, for one, it's hard to find.
I'm not really sure whether she has more than 5 episodes. She certainly has under 20 episodes.
But they're on Revolt, and so so it's on Revolt. But it's not like separated in a way that it says, okay, maybe they have a playlist here. Carisha Please. Oh, well, I guess she does only have 6 videos.
So it doesn't really seem like, not fair, but it doesn't really seem like warranted that her first year podcasting, that she's the winner. Like, maybe she got a lot of, attention behind it, and we all know what it is, oh yeah, we've all heard of Carisha Please, but as far as being the best, I don't really
it's not enough episodes to tell.
I really don't think that's true. And it's not even really like the fact that she doesn't have 100 shows. It's just that like the episodes of Drink Champs, like I could find, like I would probably have a
everybody
hard time.
talks about that. It's like a you know, not everybody, but like when people are mostly mentioning these things, they're like, oh, I saw this person on Drink Champs, this person, and it's been multiple people or whatever. But
like she hasn't even had no great people. Honestly, this is horrible. She hasn't even had anybody on her show that's like, this is a can't miss, right? Like if you put her 5 shows against their top 5 shows, you'll probably even have you'll probably even have a difficult time picking their top 5 shows, because that's how many shows they have and that's how much work they've been putting in. And like I just have gotten so much out of each of the shows that I've watched, even if it's just to see the people who I know, you know, who I thought were a certain way, and now they're there and they're speaking, and I'm getting another side of the story. I think their conversations are bomb. I think they're able to pull stuff out of people that is not easily done. And I mean, probably has something to do with alcohol, but maybe not. But they just have a bunch of like bomb moments, and that's not circumstance. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody who is good at what they do. And has gotten better, and so now they have.
Yeah, that is like, kind of weird that she would be tied with them.
It is because they have created like hundreds of pop culture moments. Huh?
What was Diddy's answer?
Diddy was like, you know how Diddy is. He said something to the effect of like, nah, man, she did a good job. Like she had the hottest joint of the year, and she been working hard. And then Charlamagne was like, "Come on, man!" And he even brought up his other podcast called $1 Million Worth of Game. And I've seen some of those too, even though I've seen more Drink Champs than I've seen $1 Million Worth of Game. But I've seen them working, and I mean, these people have been working for years, so I just find it hard to believe.
She has 1, 2, 3, 4. She got 6 videos on here. Out of those 6 videos, 5 of them have hit over 1 million views. 1.2 million views, 2.2 million views, 3.3 million views, 3.9 million views, or whatever. But I still don't. I don't know.
I know. I mean, did that because I'm not trying to take anything away from her. I think that she's got something good. I just wouldn't think that like.
It's a valid question. It was a valid question.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. If it were my vote, I probably wouldn't have chosen her show. I don't have anything against her. I actually like her show, and I like her personality. I like.
Wait, what? What happened?
What happened here?
Trick Daddy getting ate out. What
happened now?
How old is Trick Daddy ass anyway? I'm really
is in his 90s. Let me tell you something.
Concerned about this, sir.
I hope nobody ever finds these, but like he is the dustiest of dusty. Like, and it's one of those things where you don't want somebody to like touch your stuff. It's like, get that man away from my plate. Like, you know what I'm saying? He just looks dusty. He just looks dusty to me.
Oh, he revealed it on something.
Who revealed it? Oh,
Trick Daddy trends online. Actually, this happened August 31st, so it'll be late. Trick Daddy trends online after admitting to getting ate out.
Oh, that's disgusting. I mean, not disgusting. Like I'm talking about him specifically. I'm questioning. Okay.
Yeah, this just sounds so fake to me.
Here's
so problem. Crazy. Listen to this real quick. Trick Daddy has never been shy about discussing his sexual preferences. Back in 2014, the South Florida-raised rapper told AllHipHop.com about his mission of establishing the Eat a Booty Gang as a national force.
All right, let me just say something. It's out of hand. I want you to look at this man. I want you to look at this man. And here's the problem that I have. First of all, he looks like somebody's grandma. And the problem too is that somebody's doing the eating. And who would look at him in that face and that mouth and think that they're gonna and eat like what? So my thinking is this: like I actually am questioning.
Oh God. What the
Who
hell?
has such little respect for themselves that they have lowered their standards to the point of doing that to him? That is disgusting. Like, who is doing that to you? Who has agreed to do that to you?
Did he say who did it?
I have no respect for that lady.
Hold on, let me mute myself real quick.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, keep talking.
I have no respect for the person who would allow herself to get caught up in such shenanigans. Whoever you are, lady, if you're out there, let me just speak directly to you. Get some help. Because this is not okay. You could catch something. There's COVID out there. You could catch something far worse than that. Who knows what's in there? I mean, look at his face. He just, oh, I'm sorry. It's not even his face. It's just like, I just can't even believe that somebody would do that to him. And then enough for him to go and speak about it. Now, listen, he could speak about whatever he wants to speak
He did
about.
it on Drink Champs.
Was he drunk? He was probably drunk. I mean, I guess he doesn't care. He doesn't care. When you look like that, you've given up. And I don't even say it like it's just his face. It's just like his whole being. He looks. Listen, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but
oh my goodness,
he's not the one you want to be taking home.
Oh my god!
And to have some lady do that, yes, exactly.
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. Who did it? She probably at home right now. Like, please do not.
You get a bad taste in your mouth and you can't get it out. That's forever.
That's disgusting.
That's forever, lady. She probably got like a waxy feel. You're like, oh, that's forever, lady. That ain't never going nowhere. You know how when you do something, you're like, oh man, why?
Isn't that a cooking show? Isn't that his little cooking show? He be talking about it on the cooking show. Ugh. Yeah, I wouldn't.
That's ridiculous. I just want that lady to.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that Drink Champs episode because
I got to go back and watch that.
Did you watch the Kevin Gates episode on Carisha Please?
I saw the clips. I did not see the whole entire episode.
I thought it was good. I
thought it was good too from what I saw, and I thought they had chemistry. And this was right after Diddy did some show where it's not Carisha, that's not her name, but she was in the audience
about eating booty while he cooked.
She was in the audience holding up a poster about Diddy where Diddy was performing, and Diddy went to gave some acceptance speech and thanked Cassie, and everybody was like, oh, he's with the shits because he's thanking Cassie and she's married and he had just had all the stuff around there. But I actually thought he was genuinely saying he was in a dark place. She held him down for years. I remember them dating and thinking to myself, Cassie, girl, he's not going to marry you and you're better than this. You got to get up and leave. Sometimes you just stay with somebody so long, I guess, that it's just I got to get something out of this.
I mean, but remember too, in their situations, a lot of them will choose to have the benefits for as long as they can versus you're not treating me right.
And I don't even know if it was that. I think for her, she really did care about him, but she was probably waiting for something that was just not going to happen. And
I mean, yeah, because I'm not saying that she didn't care about him, but at some point you look up and you've been in that situation for so long. And for a regular person, I'm out in a second. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, my lifestyle has afforded me to care about how I'm being treated, right? As my overall. But if your livelihood is resting on this person who you also care about, I could see how some people could get caught up in situations where they know they look stupid, they know what's going on, but because of their stature and what they got going on, they stay longer than they should. You know what I mean? People on our level do that shit. And I could see how it could be really exaggerated in the celebrity world, but Diddy, I don't know. Whenever I look at Diddy just comes across to me as one of those dudes that just, I'm not saying that he doesn't shower or anything like that, but he just looks unclean to me. He's not, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's you ever met those people where they just don't look fresh, even if they got out the shower and they got on design.
I don't get that from Diddy for some reason. Diddy be looking like his mama just oiled him up from kindergarten. But his overall presentation to me, it's not about
whether he has dirt under his fingernails or whether the clothes are dusty or whatever. It's not about that. It's just his aura. It's just
Okay.
he just looks like
Like
unclean to me.
unclean. That's funny. No, listen though, when he made that statement about Cassie, I was bringing that up because that's when the Kevin Gates interview had aired, or on her show, and I remember thinking like, oh, they have chemistry. Like, maybe if people
I thought
were,
that too.
yeah, I thought that she was like into him,
but Kevin Gates has this, like, how some people just, how you meet some people and they just lead with their sexuality regardless of like what they're talking about. It's just they exude sexual energy.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I feel like Kevin Gates does that. Whoever he's talking to, they be just like all enthralled in whatever he's saying. It's in how he talks, how his little swagger is. He a Geechee boy. And so I feel like because I saw somebody, your nephew watches some young dude. I can't remember the dude's name, but this dude is like one of those dudes that are like teaching other men how to be with women, not be with women, but like how to be, I don't even want to say like alpha male type of thing, but like he does the little advice to younger guys kind of channel, right?
Oh, okay.
And I say it's a little dude because he's younger, he's like in his 20s. But he was breaking down a video of somebody, damn it, what was the girl's name? Because she's famous too. I can't remember who it was now, but it was some chick who was coming to talk to Kevin Gates, like interview him at one of his shows or whatever. And she was, he was breaking down her body language and how she was. Like, people that just talk to him, they just be like, I don't know. It's something about the way his energy is. Even while I was watching the thing with him and her, like he just has this, Jezebel spirit.
This what?
Jezebel? Jezebel spirit on him. I don't know. It's just you can't look at him and talk and listen to what he's talking about and not get that from him. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm tripping, but
no, I feel like he's
it's just like, you remember Carmen from Ready to Love, the last DC season?
Yeah.
She got a lot of sexual energy. Remember Desi that used to rock with?
I do know what you mean.
This is like
saying he's like that.
I feel like Kevin Gates is like that. Whenever I have watched something with him, it's just like that is what is I don't even know how to talk about this, but not even on his mind. It's just the energy that surrounds him and the people he has conversations with. Like, if you even like you watch that Carisha Please video, and then like I said, I saw somebody else that interviewed him. So it's just the way that he talks. Like, he knows the sex appeal that he has. You know what I'm saying? You can tell. You can just tell. He knows. And the fact that he is very comfortable with himself. And I
was gonna say, I think it has a lot to do with his authenticity.
He's just being himself or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, I don't even know where we were going with that, but I just felt like I needed to say that.
No, I appreciate it. No, for sure.
But it was a good video. It was a good video, but
I'm gonna have to look that up. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. Sorry to be so abrupt.
No, but I do think that he paid for that, because
let's go back. Yeah, let's just listen. This is not. I mean, I can't with this. I can't believe this. I don't believe
it's so many other podcasts, right? Yeah, you're right.
And I mean, like, if it would, sorry, and I hate to be like this because I'm not. It's not based on like gender or anything like that. It's basically the time spent in the game, right? Like, and the quality of the work that has been done. I think that she's got a good show on her hands, but she hasn't really put that much work in. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's a great set and she asks good questions, but like, she hasn't really pulled anything out of anybody. She's not like, a great interviewer, and like, she's not there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think she has a good show and I like it, but I don't think she's reached that status. Like, look, I wasn't obviously the person who was responsible for this vote. So who am I? But I just don't, it just doesn't measure up. It doesn't add up to me. When you have, like they have produced so many interviews that put them in the lane of, pop culture. Like you start, there's certain things that we'll never stop saying that were like on the Dave Chappelle show or in the movie Friday, right? Like it's a part of pop culture now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like they have created those types of moments, and she hasn't yet. You know what I'm saying? So
that's the thing, and it's just like, okay, yeah. So I agree with the question that he asked. He probably did pay that, but people try to do stuff like that and thinking it's just going to slide by and nobody's going to really like. He probably did not think that he was going to ask that question.
I don't think so either, because Charlamagne he be getting people, yo.
But they be getting. I mean, her, like I said, her views are on par.
Yeah, and it could be valid. I mean, I'm not saying that this is rigged, and you know what I'm saying.
The
best video of all time.
But that's the thing. When you have a popular person that's popular for something else already, start to do something like this, they have a built-in fan base to start with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they can branch off, and the show is actually on. Okay, so She's Young Miami. The show is on Revolt TV, right? It's one of their shows.
Yeah.
So they already she has her fan base, and then they have their own fan base of people who just watch Revolt shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I get it. I'm happy for them all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But yeah, I would want to know who votes for these. Like, how did y'all come to that conclusion?
Yeah, how did that go? How did that pan out? But it could have been fan voting, and maybe it's valid. I just didn't even really agree with that. Like, I couldn't understand how that happened. You know what I'm saying? It was like how it's like when Trump got elected. You know what I'm saying? I was like, how did that actually? What? Like, you just couldn't really believe it. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, okay, y'all tripping. Clearly, I'm tripping because
I remember I cracked my phone screen that day.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was the day that he had, because actually he didn't get announced as the winner until I think like late that night.
Yeah, because of all the stuff surrounding that.
I remember that. So I don't think I was awake when it happened. And then when I woke up, right, like the next morning, I remember like seeing it on the headlines. Like, I just knew when I went to bed that like, oh, of course he's not gonna win. Or maybe I did know, and then I went to bed and I thought it was a nightmare or something. I don't know what it was, but I just remember waking up the next day and like one of the it sounds really silly, but one of the worst things that I feel like can ruin your mood is when you crack your phone screen. It's like, right? Like,
and when you drop it and it actually cracks it, you know that it's that you when you drop it and it's the drop that cracks your phone, you already know before you pick it up. You
already know before. You know what's funny? I've cracked a screen before on a Galaxy way back in like 2015 or something like this, but I went on the way out of my hand when I saw the way it was dropping and where it was going, like, and it was right there. I dropped it so many times before, but the way that it fell out of my hand, I knew immediately before it hit the ground. I feel like it cracked midair or something like this. And then it hit the ground and I just confirmed it. But anyway, that particular day when I checked my screen, and I was really upset. I wanted to be upset, but I couldn't be upset at that because I was like, this is not the worst thing that happened today. But Donald Trump is our president, and we're all going to get... Anyway. So he was making up to her for that sign he ignored. I couldn't believe he did that. I was like, yo, he's up here. He didn't even thank her. And they're supposed to be dating. He was like, thank you, Cassie. It was weird. All right, so on to the next story. Weird. This was sad for me, guys. I gotta say, when I saw this, I think you sent it to me, Damita.
Yeah, because I saw this, and I was like, oh no.
I was like, you know how you don't want to believe something? Like, I remember when Michael Jackson died, and I was like, oh, let me Google this, right? Like, I remember first hearing the news, right? This was not like that, but this was like sad. Like, I mean, like, I don't know nothing. I don't know no tea. I don't know them, but I'm thinking he must have cheated.
Okay, so this is funny because so being on YouTube kind of like opens up a different portal to stuff, I would say, because before I was on YouTube,
you said being on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like being
a portal.
Because like before I was on YouTube, I would hear about celebrity stuff and things like that, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But being on YouTube, like, you get to hear all types of people's thoughts about stuff. And with this situation, when this first came out, a lot of people, you know, posted it. It was like, okay, they're breaking up after 14 years. And then almost immediately, everybody started to like bash him and be like, he cheated and this, that, and the other, right? When nobody knew anything. So he had to come out and say that he came out and was like, you know, there's nothing about cheating or whatever. But then you had the people who were like, you know, talking about that time they were on Black Love and like breaking down that video. Like, he never wanted to be with her. Look how he's sitting in front of her. Look how he, you know, whatever, right? And then you have the group of men who are talking about how, you know, there is 70% of women, I'm going to use air quotes because I haven't laid eyes on that myself, but apparently allegedly 70% of women initiate divorce, right? And so my thought to that is, yeah, okay, well, if don't we need to know why they're initiating the divorce to have a valid percentage on before we say women cause divorce? Like, if you are, you know, if you are doing something worthy of divorce, like I feel like we just will have to take each situation as it is. Like, I'm not just going to go out there and say that it's women's fault because people get divorced, because who knows, you know what I'm saying? But in this situation, I'm just like, okay, she was Melanie on the Game. You know what I'm saying? A while ago, she did repost that scene when she found out that Derwin had cheated on her. But that was, you know, people were reading into that too. That's probably why people were saying he cheated or whatever. But I think she just posted it just because. But then again, you gotta be strategic about this shit, like, because like our little relationships, right? Nobody's gonna know, you know, if I broke up, right? Or know if you broke up. Like, only certain people in your close circle are gonna talk about it. But like, when your relationship is in front of the public eye, like, you have to be strategic about what you're gonna let out. And I feel because I would do this. You know what I'm saying? If we had a talk and we then figured out, listen, it's not going to work anymore. I still care about you. I want you to win, and you want me to win.
And they got kids together.
We got kids together. Like, we got to talk about how we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like it would be better to be amicable and do it versus, you know, the opposite, which is that people going to be trying to interview him. People going to be trying to interview her. Whatever. They have to have, it's like they, you know, the smart thing to do for me is, in my opinion, would be to, if you can, depending on the situation, right? You want to end it amicably and have a plan on how y'all going to deal with the public. Because as you can see, people done ran with their own ideas or whatever.
Look, I already done made up a story in my head. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what's going on.
And look, I looked at her Instagram, and she, you know, she's in her 40s, and she's trying to, it looked like she was like, she'd been posting these videos of, like, you know, her in these outfits and things like that or whatever. Like, it looks like she's trying to have fun or whatever. So, you know, they've been married for 14 years, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't no point in staying that way if you're miserable. So, I don't know. But then, you know how they met, right? He met her, I guess, right after the sister whole thing, and she met him at a bus stop. He's always been pegged as this struggling actor, and now he's gotten bigger gigs. Like, I think he's on All American, which I got to catch up on that. Have you watched All American?
Mm-mm.
You have not watched All American? Oh my goodness, me and your nephew he had me on a binge watching that Joan. I think it was the year he graduated high school. So, but it's good.
All right, I gotta watch that.
Taye Diggs is on there. There's a couple of other people on there, whatever. But I think he has a role on it now as a coach. And then he has something else that he did. So he's coming into his actor spotlight now, right? And so I think that a lot of people think that she's feeling some way about that because he's not at home or whatever. But I really don't think so, because she's already an actor. She's been an A-list actor. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
yeah, she's not gonna, you know, that's a real
I don't think she would hate on him in that situation. You know
no, I don't think so. And I've seen him in some bigger things. I think he was in that. Yeah, he had a small part, but he was in the movie He's Just Not That Into You, and that movie's never gonna stop.
We just watched the movie. Didn't you watch that movie? We was all mad about how everything was going. Karen.
Yeah. He was in Karen. So it's like, and he's had some other roles. Like I remember seeing him and stuff. Like he's not no slouch or whatever. But I don't think that's the reason. Listen, I'm talking like I don't think that's the reason. Like I know what I'm even talking about. I don't know these people, but it's just from what I can gather.
That could be true too. I didn't think about it like that.
We've been following their careers, the twins' careers since Sister. So and then watching the reality show and stuff, and I kind of feel like I want the best for them. I think she's a good person. I just can't imagine. It's just so unfathomable to me that they would break up. It's like they seem so fun and cool, and you just don't really know who people are.
No, because they were still posting stuff about like loving each other. I mean, but that doesn't mean they stopped loving each other just because they're getting divorced. But they were still like doing stuff together, like in summertime or whatever. But at the same time, okay, thinking about it in the sense of, okay, you're getting older and you have certain things that you want to do. You don't want to, not do something just because this person is hindering it. You know what I'm saying? Like you only get one life to live. So when you think of it in that instance, if it's something that is like, I'm not sexually attracted to you anymore, or like, how do you're not going to stay for that. You have to, that person wants to be with somebody that is sexually attracted to them. So it's like, it could have been something like, not like that, not specifically, but it could have been something that it's like, we can't work past this in a marriage, but we can work past this in a co-parenting situation. You know what I mean?
I'm just looking up what are examples of
irreconcilable. It could be anything
in California. It doesn't have to be one of these things, but it's so vague.
I was going to say, it could be anything.
Personality conflicts, difference of religion, lengthy long distance. Like it could be anything. Like irreconcilable differences is anything. So that's not to say that they were even truthful and honest about that. But
exactly. The idea to me that's my point. You got to be strategic.
My thing is, if you're going to marry somebody and stay with them for 14 years, there's got to be something that's so like wrong now that wasn't wrong. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, I disagree with that because
I guess it could be something that they dealt with for years, and
it could be. It could be, or somebody could have just woke up and just been like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
you just never know.
You just never know. Irreconcilable differences is it could be anything basically. But like I said, thinking about it in the terms of, obviously nobody will really be looking up my divorce record, right? Because I'm not in the limelight that they're in. But I'm telling you, they probably have to have, again, I find a reason to say this every episode. These people work in the land of pretend for money. Like this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? So like when it comes to situations like, you want to take people at their face value or whatever, but like really and truly, y'all motherfuckers want to know about my motherfucking marriage, and I don't know y'all, so take what I give you kind of thing. Like why would we just automatically think that they're going to come out and tell us the truth, right? And so, I mean, because thinking about it in the sense of, if I'm her, I don't know none of y'all motherfuckers, but I know how crazy y'all can be. So we just go and do it like this, and there you have it, or whatever. I don't know, but they did get married when they were young, and like people change. You know what I'm saying? So,
all right, enough of the sad news. That was horrible, but they'll be fine. They'll both be fine. All right,
she was a virgin allegedly when they met. She said allegedly. I think so too. I think that she is discovering a different part of herself because I mean, nigga, I don't know about you, but the person that you are today is so much different than the person that you probably were 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Even the people that you hung around, like the stuff that you like to do. And sometimes being in a situation like that, like I like these things because it sparks different conversations amongst us peasants, right? but I mean, like you think about the fact that she is still a person, and if she really was a virgin, and she's just, who knows how she's viewing how her time in this relationship has been. She might be on that verge of, you know what, I'm over 40 now. I have, things that I want to do that I never got to do. And she might think that he's a hindrance because he was pegged as a struggling artist the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to think that she was making everything happen as far as like, where we're going to stay, where we got to eat, where we, when we want to go places or whatever, because he even said in the articles, they had everything. He didn't have anything. You know what I'm saying? He had an empty apartment with a couch or something like that. Or maybe he said he didn't even have a couch. So I don't know.
That's tough. I mean, I that's tough. I don't really know much about it, but it just sucks. But well, I mean, maybe it doesn't suck. Maybe they're living their best lives now.
But I thought it was interesting though that like they're both twins. I guess that's redundant. So Tia and Tamera. I think Tia has always been my favorite twin because people be like, she's the black one and Tamara's the white one.
Okay.
Anyway, but she's always been my favorite twin. I liked her character on The Game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how different they chose as far as marriage, right? She chose this guy and she chose this guy, which in comparison, she really got with the bum dude. You know what I'm saying? He's not a bum. I'm not saying he's not a bum right now, but back then when she got with him, he was a struggling artist on a bus stop and she was in a hit TV show already. You know what I'm saying? She was already on the scene or whatever. So I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? It'd be that struggle love that we be liking to see. And when they was on Black Love, I like that. I like the episode, but I did notice their body language and how they were sitting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so not to say that, but in retrospect, right? Like I have seen a couple of things that they posted on her Instagram that I felt like was not, showing them in a loving situation. So certain times where he would be like rolling his eyes, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, maybe that's just their relationship. That's how they are. And maybe they just, like you said, aren't in love anymore. Or maybe they just really irritate the crap out of each other. I could see that.
You watched the Black Love one?
No, but I saw that clip.
There was a clip in there where he was trying to talk and she was talking, or she must have like interjected, but it really wasn't a huge interjection. Like she had just started talking in reference to whatever he was asked, and he was like, "Let me finish." You know what I'm saying? And like people made a big deal about that or whatever, but they cut each other off, so it wasn't like she was just like cutting him off the whole time or whatever. But I don't know.
I vaguely remember something. Either they posted it or I saw it on like one of their shows or something where he was saying something and she was kind of like laughing and he was just like not, and I thought it was like a joke, but he just seemed like he was irritated. But you know what, I was watching something on Fox Soul. I don't know if anybody watches Fox Soul, where Funky Dineva was talking about how he started his, how he started making content. And he started talking about his relationships and stuff like that. And he was like, you know what? I'm at the point in my life where I don't want a relationship unless I enjoy being around that person more than I enjoy being by myself. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, yeah, like, duh. Like, why would you subject yourself to be in a relationship just to
have a body there.
Just to have a body there. Like, you got to be like, you know what? I like being around you more than I like just hanging out by myself. Yeah. And so if they got to the point where it was just like, I don't really like being around you, that might be an irreconcilable difference right there. Like, how can you live your life like that? Like, it's just the sight and thought of you.
That's the thing. Things like this, just this subject right here, we done came up with so many different scenarios off of what it could be, right? And that's why I'm saying these people that are from the land of pretend, that get paid by the land of pretend, like they are used to creating narratives. Because if you get in front of it, you have more control over what you're going to put out there initially. Now, people are going to think whatever they think, but if they would have just said nothing and then somebody came across it, whatever, then it would have been out, and then it would have been this whole other thing of them trying to like come from behind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just always give everything the side eye. It's unfortunate that they're not together, and that they decided to split or whatever, but it seems like it's, everything is cool. But I mean, I just, the way the news cycle goes, I just am going to wait a couple months to see what else comes out. because
yeah,
the
I
internet
feel like
is,
that too. Like we're gonna find out more about this. That's what I
the
actually
internet
think.
is undefeated on that. You know what I'm saying?
I
Um,
actually think we're gonna find out more about this. But anyway, all right. So on to the next. So now let's just talk about all the good stuff. So here's something we wanted to talk about. Keke Palmer has announced that she's got a digital network for content creators coming. I be forgetting how young she is because I just been seeing her,
29.
for so long. She's 29 years old. Keke Palmer is young, like, but she just has so much, going for her that she's been around since she was a kid. Anyway, she has a digital
People are
network.
comparing her to Whitney Houston, as far as like her personality and how she acts just like Whitney Houston. You said
she is so funny. Like
she is.
sometimes it's the stuff that she's saying is like real. It's just coming out of her brain. It's just like hilarious. I find her to be very entertaining. And I mean, she's obviously very intelligent and she's a beautiful girl. I wish her the best with this. I think, this is real big because it's like a digital network for content creators. I watched a little excerpt, like it's like a commercial. It's called Key TV. And
I saw her little Instagram thing, but
it was really cute. And she was talking about how like she's going to create opportunities for people to be, like behind the scenes and like learn different things about production and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. Good for her. And then that just brings me into the last part of this, which is just to talk about the glow up of people that I really dig. So this is not the one. This lady is hilarious.
I was
The lip
talk
bar.
about this one. What's going on too? Yes. Okay. Fun fact: she just did a collab with the CEO of Slutty Vegan, Pinky Cole.
Oh,
and they came out with two vegan. They have a I forgot what they're calling it. It's called like the Nasty Girl Collection or something. There's two different lipsticks or whatever, but they just did a collab. I was like, Black entrepreneur, $1 million businesses, let's collab. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's what's up. I saw this Instagram too. I was like, I know that's right.
These next three things, this one is the first one that I was going to share, just is really kind of like what we were talking about earlier offline, about the possibilities that you just don't even know where stuff is going to come from. Her raising this $6.7 million was a shock to her. But, why would it be when you have such a good product, right? It's just like, we just believe in ourselves and go with it.
So like you said, right? You never know what opportunities you're going to get. You can have the idea all day, right? You can have the idea, okay, I want to open up a lemonade stand. But you have no way of seeing that somebody that's going to come past your lemonade stand is going to have something that can help you grow together because y'all can collaborate. You never know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I keep going back to your voice that plays in my head whenever I was talking about starting my YouTube channel. And you was like, just create the body of work. Because what are people gonna do when they come to my YouTube channel if I don't have any work, if I don't have any videos? You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, that's a disclaimer for now because I do have to catch up on some shit, so don't judge me on that. But now people can come and look at different things that I've already done. You know what I'm saying? And so when Pinky Cole is building her, and these two things have nothing to do with each other as far as products go, right? You're not gonna think about lipstick while you're eating a burger. You know what I'm saying? So she's creating her masterpiece over here, her empire over here with the vegan burgers, and then you got this lady who's creating the vegan lip bars, right? And now, like that was a collab I would have never even guessed on a multiple choice question. You know what I mean? You would be thinking in lines of, okay, maybe she'll party with a beauty supply store, she'll partner with this person or whatever. But I was like, this is tight. So, and they both doing big things. Anyway.
Yes. This was actually on my list because this is not even the story that I'm about to talk about, but Slutty Vegan back in May got a $25 million investment that put some different things into play. One of which I believe this is probably one of the benefits of that, of raising that money back in May. But it's so interesting to see how these are two, companies that we've seen grow. Like they weren't here, You know what I'm saying? Like I want to say like 10 years ago, they weren't around, and now they are around, and we can see that they're like doing super bomb. And so this is another one. This is actually what I was going to touch on. Slutty Vegan is already expanding after drawing massive lines at the first NYC outpost. Now, one of the things that they're known for is having their customers take pictures in their restaurants. Like it's a social media moment. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's really interesting because people come all around who aren't vegan. They just want to taste the food and take a selfie, right? Yep. And I mean, like, what a simple concept. You don't have to be the best. We're going to be the best burger ever. You don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Because who cares if they're eating the best burger ever? Really, if you're eating a burger, you just want it to taste okay. You know what I'm saying? So you're not full anymore. You're not looking for the best burger you ever had.
The fact that the line be wrapped like it is and that people do take those selfies and post it makes people traveling from other places like, oh, we got to go here if there's a Slutty Vegan here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you're right. It did just become a thing. And I always keep saying, I hope that they talk to Everything Legendary at some point to see if they can use their burger instead of Impossible. But Impossible is good because it holds the flavor like of whatever you put in it. So you can season that junk really well. So that is a plus or whatever. So I don't know, but I hope they talk to each other. But you know, her husband or her fiance, he owns Dave's Cheesesteaks. He owns a place called Dave's Cheesesteaks, which is crazy, right? Because she's a vegan and she's a vegan. Well, he's in franchise his own. They both have. I mean, I was like, that's tight. You know
they're running this hospitality game. I know that's right. And they probably can relate to each other. They know exactly what each other's going through. That's what's up. Okay, and then the last one on this same vein is I always just love her so much. I just have to give her some love. Tabitha Brown is probably one of my favorite social, like my favorite human beings in any space. She's not just in social media anymore. She got stuff at Target. She got seasoning. She got a cooking show. She got a kids show. She's everywhere. And I love me some Tab. Like she can do no wrong.
Another person who just started and didn't have any idea. She wanted to act. She wanted to be on TV. But look at all of the things that she's done since she just started posting those videos and doing reviews and things that just grew and grew. So that's a good picture too. What is that? Is that
her website? This is her website. So I was just like, well, let me go to her website because I don't want to even find a picture. I found some pictures, but they were other people's websites. I was like, she has so many things happening. Like, we should just put her website up there. It's IamTabithaBrown.com. And this is a bomb. I guess it's like a painting. I mean, her spirit is just bomb. Like, I just would love, like, we will meet her. I will meet her. And
because I gotta go to Kill My Name. We gotta travel to go to her restaurant. I'm looking for my seasoning because I ordered her seasoning the other day, but I don't think it's delivered because I never tried it. I never tried it.
It's good too. It kind of tastes like hint of pineapple. It's good on fish, and I be putting it on everything. I put it in my eggs.
I'm gonna use it for shrimp and fish.
It's really good, but yeah. So shout out to Tabitha Brown. I picked these last three people just simply because of the glow up that I've witnessed. I remember when the lip bar. Man, when did the lip bar start? Because it was when I was super into. I still am super into makeup, but I remember. Like they were talking about, this is a black owned makeup brand, and like when you watch all of the what do you call it, the beauty influencers or whatever, you hear about that stuff. They say it out loud, on the thing, like, here's this, you got to get this. It's from a black owned lip brand. And I remember when they got into Target, and I was like, oh, that's huge. They're in Target now, because at first they weren't in Target when I first heard about them. So then when they got into Target, I was like, that's what's up, because it was like, oh, this black owned brand. It wasn't really a whole bunch of black owned brands out there in the makeup space. Like, I'm so glad there are many more now, but I can't remember exactly. I can only remember when I heard about them. I don't know the history of like when they started, but they weren't like super popular in the space when I first heard about them. And then I just started seeing like, oh, now they're this. Oh, now they're that. Now they're doing this collaboration with this person. Oh, and now they're too. Say again.
I said they were on Shark Tank too. I feel like this was back in like
Yeah, and I just remember like
They were
seeing how
rejected from the Shark Tank.
I remember seeing them grow. And I'm like, you know what? If you have an idea and you just go with it, even when if you start with your one little product or your one little idea, your one little thought, like you just start there and then you can just learn your way to success. You know what I'm saying? So these three people specifically, the person who started the lip gloss, which I just remembered her name, but then I just had her name up, but then I forgot about it again. I just clicked out of it. What is her name? Melissa Butler. The Lip Bar, Tabitha Brown, and Pinky from the
Slutty Vegan. These are actually the three people I talk about most when I talk about entrepreneurs and stuff too. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's it. That's what I was gonna say. I'm not vegan either, but I'm actually eating vegan stuff because my nephew, he's not vegan either, but he makes me because of his preference to eat vegetarian, he be having us just like get creative when we make family meals. Like, you know what, we're gonna try this. And we were doing this at one point. We probably start going back to it when we were doing those Impossible sausages or something like, I don't know what they were. Beyond Meat. It was Beyond Meat sausages, and then the brand that you talked about earlier. Why is it slipping my mind right now?
Okay, so we just cut out for.
Oh man, I don't even know if I'm still on, but if I am, I don't want to not be talking. So I'm just gonna be talking until I'm not. Oh, I think we must be. It's fine. Anyway, I'm gonna keep talking because I can hear myself.
You can hear me now? Because I
can.
Now. I don't know why it's doing that. It just keeps it keeps going to the little buffer thing.
That's okay. Well, you know what? We've had a pretty decent time show, so maybe it's time that we go ahead and, save our topics for next week. But I just wanted to say again, to reiterate that, like, if you're out there and you have a dream to do something, like, I'm taking my own advice too, but I'm just gonna just do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing that I can't learn my way better in. I know that doesn't sound right, but like, yeah, I'm just gonna be mediocre until I learn how to be better, and then I get better from there. And what's funny is you don't even have to be the best. You thinking in your head that, like, oh, I gotta be the best of this, or I have to have this thing in place before I start, and you actually don't. You actually just have to go for it. And then sometimes if you put yourself in a position, you can make something happen real quick and you didn't even know you had that.
You didn't even think of, because in that moment you figure it out. Let me tell you, you are absolutely right, because like, you might not even you might not even be able to work on that thing or perfect that craft or perfect that thing until you get out the first whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So like just thinking back, okay, this made me think of this. I was looking at, I don't know how sometimes on YouTube you start looking at one thing, you get down to a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Searching for other stuff, right? And so I came across Baltimore Housewives of Baltimore. Like, it was back like 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago. Somebody was doing this YouTube thing of these YouTube series of the Housewives of Baltimore, and I was like, I know this Jones probably like off the chain, right? But just looking back, and it had me looking at other videos or whatever, just looking back at how, hairstyles was back then. Like, a lot of people thought they was doing it, and they really wasn't. Looking back, it's like, oh my God, I was wearing that hairstyle, I was wearing this, but like, it just matters that what you do in that moment. You know what I mean? So like, you got something to do, you got your idea that you want to get out or whatever, just start. You want to start exercising, just start with something. It could be something small. You want to learn a new habit, just start. I always write in my affirmations list in the morning, I can learn anything. Because if I think back of all the stuff that I've done in my life, like, even like, especially jobs, like, I don't necessarily know how to do what the fuck it is y'all want me to do until somebody teaches me what y'all need to be done.
And then I have to figure it out on my own or something like that. I gotta
figure it out on my own. And it's like, if you're not trying to learn something like on a regular, consistent basis, like, it doesn't matter what it is. It might be a new cooking technique. It might be a new thing with, videos or whatever it is that pertains to you. Like, even if you're not doing the thing that you want to do, you need to be looking at, things that are going to feed into you about that thing. Like if you want to start a business, you need to be looking at business podcasts, things that have to do with that, because it puts you in the space, in the mind space of getting that done. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so while we're talking about stuff that you learn, I recently learned about carrot ribbons. Now, okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I know we've been on for a minute, but I cook carrots sometimes, but usually when I cook carrots, I slice them and I include them with another vegetable, and then I saute them, right? Well, I was watching somebody's Instagram, and they were doing like salmon and something else, and then it was like this pile of orange things, and I was like, what the fuck is that? It was carrot ribbons. So she took the peeler and just like peeled the carrots down, right, into like those ribbons right there, and then cooked them that way. I was like, I'm gonna try that. Man, I tried that the other night. I bought a whole bag of carrots because I'm about to be I just chopped up some garlic. I think I put a little olive oil in the pan with the garlic, and I seasoned it with like a couple different seasons. Put the top of that junk for a few minutes and let that junk cook to the consistency that I wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Because like with carrots, if you want them to have a little crunch, you don't do it as long. But they were bomb.
It looks like you can make them into noodles. Exactly. You can make them into little curls. You could put, this looks like they put something like some Asian spice on there.
For salad and stuff like that. But anyway, my point was like I learned how to do something new as far as the kitchen, but like you should just always be open to learning something. If it's something that you want to do, start Googling it and looking at videos so you can just see people talking about them doing it until you get the courage to start whatever it is that you're going to do, because we need to all be creating something. So
I agree. And the more you learn about things that you're passionate about, the more you realize how connected everything is, and everything is just about recognizing patterns. So what you learn in one area probably applies to so many other areas, and it's just your level of understanding grows everything you learn. So you might think you're learning about pens or lip gloss, and next thing you know, you're noticing like, oh, this is like, the same thing I know about this other thing, or this is the same way this industry goes. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, with that said, next week we're going to talk about Ready to Love, because we didn't get to that today, and I definitely have thoughts.
And the reunion is coming up in a couple of weeks too. I can't wait to see that. It's supposed to be really good, but it might be hype, so we don't know.
Yeah, we got to see what's going to happen with that. But I'm excited to talk about that next week, and then whatever else shenanigans happen this next week, we're going to go ahead and touch on those. It's been a shenanigan-filled like 2 weeks actually, because we had a whole nother set of topics. I had a whole nother set of topics to talk about.
We definitely are not lacking in topics. So,
oh my gosh. One topic, and I'm not going to bring this up, but I'm not going to talk about it right now, but maybe we'll touch on it next week, about Blac Chyna's mom and her comments. And it's not what you think. I'm not bashing her, but I just think, I have some thoughts on that. So we're going to talk about that next week, because I think it'll still be relevant.
Yes, we definitely have to talk about that next week. Now, I'm going to put this comment up because,
are we going to discuss Kayla and Sabrina?
I just want to say this. Shout out to Miss Sabrina Soul. She has invited me on her panel to be a part of her panel sometimes, and I enjoy it. It's always a good time, and it's always very interesting. I love Sabrina.
Me too.
For this comment, I will say that, I had some questions I wanted to ask, but then I realized I didn't really want to know. So I didn't have a lot to input on that panel, sadly, just because I don't know. I think I'll reserve my comments for next week. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait it out.
Yeah, let's wait. We're gonna talk about this next week, because I feel like this next week on the show is probably gonna be really interesting too. So I think it'll be good for us to talk next week.
And then in the back of my mind, I'd be like, we don't really know how this stuff has played out. Who is together? And I feel like one, she said a lot on Sabrina's show.
Yeah.
But then I feel like two,
she said some stuff that maybe she wasn't clear to say.
I thought so, but then I don't know. But then another thing, I think that, you know, I understand. I'm gonna say this, and this is all I say. I understand their need to feel like they need to tell their side of the story after the show is aired. But on the other hand, I feel like, you know, that's not our problem. We signed up. You guys signed up for the TV show, and then we signed up to watch the TV show. And so it's like, if the story that we're getting from the TV show is what we see with our eyes, the extra information is helpful. The extra context is helpful, but you can't fault us for the product that comes out that has us thinking A, B, and C before we find out the information, if we ever find out the information, because you have a lot of people that don't give a fuck. They just watch the show, make their assumptions, and then move on. So, you know, while I do appreciate the fact that they are human and they are, you know, we don't tear nobody down over here, but like, they do have feelings and stuff like that. I just want them to understand, we watching TV. We didn't ask for the show. You guys helped make the show, but you can't keep running behind the episodes to try to make us feel differently about the product. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't know these people. You know what I'm saying? I'm just watching on TV. If I was to go on a show, I don't feel like I could really do anything in regards to what people would have to say, because the show is aired. It's there. It's on TV, and I did it. You know what I'm saying? Anything else would kind of seem like pointless to me. But again, I'm not on the show, and I don't know those people. All of our commentary is based off of what we see on the show. So I don't know. That's all I say on that. But you know, I just can't wait to the reunion, because I feel like I watched Trinika's interview somewhere. I watched a little bit of, I guess I watched a little bit of Looney's, but I can't wait to see what happens on the reunion. Like, I guess we have to watch next week's show, and then we get to see the reunion. But I think we should do another, how we did the live review of the last season or whatever. I feel like that's what we should do for this season, because it's going to be a lot to talk about real time. And then, you know, I'll be able to figure out what actually happened as far as who ended up together, because then we're going to probably look back on some of these interviews that they are doing now, which is kind of too early to do the interviews. But we're going to figure out, oh, such and such was over this person's house the whole time they were doing this, or, you know what I'm saying? Who knows what's going to happen. But anyway,
I do have something to say too. And I know, listen, these are my thoughts, so they're not necessarily attached to Mr. Mita Joe, but I'll say that from watching the what you guys discussed yesterday, it was kind of evident to me that, you know, sometimes people have personal experiences that they hold as their truth, and they're not really understanding bigger pictures. And I kind of got that last night. I kind of got the fact that, like, okay, everybody's having their own personal experience. And while you might think this is the reason for that this happened to me, this was happening to me, right? You might not really be understanding that something else was happening outside of your experience, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's true for all of us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I'm in this traffic, you know what I'm saying? But like, really, everybody's sitting in traffic, Faith. Right. So you weren't targeted. You know what I'm saying? Right, so I think I got some of a little bit of that, and I also understand, because it's like, yeah, it feels like that sometimes. Mm-hmm. But it also gave me a clearer picture of, like, you know, just because a show produces, you know, shows and stuff like that, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and you don't really, you know what I'm saying? You don't really know these people. Like they're, you know, they're just characters until you start to see some of these interviews and see how they present themselves and see who they are. And so I mean, like, I enjoy everybody on this show. So, you know, Kayla included. So I really enjoyed last night's conversation. I thought y'all really hit on some good topics.
It's interesting to hear
everybody's perspective.
I was just watching the whole thing because I was just like, okay, but the other thing that I think she pointed it out that you don't really think about, and okay, after this we're gonna stop because then we're gonna have to go into the whole conversation. But
I know we gotta save some of this for next week.
The other thing that we don't really think about is that as a viewer, we're watching the show, right? And so we see this person's date, we see that person's date or whatever, but they don't necessarily know what happened on those days because they weren't there until they watched back the video, right? So all of the times that we are, making our commentary or whatever, we have more information than them on that front because they're just seeing that information. What they have is, like you said, they have their experience, right? Right. Everybody's experience is going to be different. And of course, you're going to want to defend yourself with somebody if you think somebody has something wrong. But at the end of the day, we can only go off of what was caught on film. You know what I mean? And yeah, it could be manipulated. It could be manipulated. But if you gave the okay for it to be manipulated.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the other thing that I don't think I've ever even said is that even when you're on the show, you're having the experience real time with the other people. So whatever's happening between you and the other cast members is, real, I would think. Like, I'm not saying like everybody's being themselves or everybody's being real, but it's just like, if you're having an experience, it's not an out of body experience. Like, the show might be something that, they didn't show this part and they left this out and this is out of order and that's not what happened. But when you're on the show and something's happening to you and we can see it happening, it's happening for, for us all to see. So it's not just your experience at that point, it's what happened. And I feel like sometimes people extract themselves from the experience and kind of focus on themselves like, well, this is what's happening to me. But it's just like, well, we saw what happened. You know what I'm saying? So like, while I appreciate your, dedication to explaining your thinking, it's like, well, you also have to allow some, some feedback and some alternate viewpoints sometimes. And I think, that's helpful too. Anyway, I've said enough. We're going to continue this conversation next week. And yes, I'm so glad. I look forward to it because at that point we will have been recapping like the last 3 weeks, I feel like.
Yeah, because I have not actually done a review of the show since like episode 8 or 9 or maybe even 7, but I plan on, catching up or whatever in like one video. I'm just going to do a little small recap or whatever, or I might just wait to the reunion at this point. I don't fucking know. But what I did want to tell y'all is that in other news, I am still on my workout journey. If you guys want to follow my fit vlog, go to my
I don't know what that was.
Go to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Demeanor Jo. Also, I have some merch for like working out. If you guys go to MissDemeanorJo.com, you can get your this is only for women now. I don't have anything for the men yet, but it's just like cute little workout tees with little messages on them. It's probably going to end up being a lot of inspirational messages that I come up with or whatever, but check it out. But if you will give your, tell the people where they can find you.
Yes. Okay. So I just put something in the private chat. If you could post that, they can find me everywhere. For some reason, I can't put things in the chat unless I put it in over here. But that is my link tree. That's going to give you everything that I'm doing. She said, I hope it's not like a She by Shine. Oh my God. It's like Yo, Ellen is a comedian. Like, I don't know what.
Yo, Ellen and Monique. Ellen and Monique, and sometimes they be tag teaming
each other or whatever. I just have so much fun.
I like whenever I go to, matter of fact, most of those people were here today. Whenever I go to certain chats on YouTube, if I see Ellen or Monique come up, I'll be like, okay, I can watch this person. This person must be cool because they watching this person. Or I'll be like, oh, they like them too. I like them too. Or Just Jay and Tata G. If I see Just Jay be around here on channels or whatever, and I'll be like, that's my girl. But she came from, I met her through the Plainest Jane. So shout out to the Plainest Jane. But anyway, as usual, we appreciate all y'all for rocking with us. We've been here for 2 hours. I cannot believe we talked for 2 hours.
I can.
But it was a good conversation. You know what I mean? I always am nervous at the beginning of these podcasts or whatever, but then once we get to talking, it's like smooth sailing. So
it's so easy. It's so easy to talk to you. And we're just gonna keep getting better, guys. So if you don't like it, stick around and maybe you will one day. Chances are if you're still here, you're okay with us. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. I love the love. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Yes, we will see y'all next week. Peace.